Hello, guys. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and welcome to another live feed. This is where we end eating disorders using nothing but our brains. And that may be something like overeating. That may be something like emotional eating, body hate, food obsession. Maybe you're okay with the way that you're eating, but you hate the way that you feel about food. Your relationship with food is way too much preoccupation, taking you away from being present with the people that you care about, the things you want to do, because you're planning your next meal and you're thinking about the cookies in the break room when you could be focusing on really like bettering your life. This could be binge eating. This could be bulimia. All of those things, the same sets of principles that keep you in those patterns that reinforce every time that you go through the cycle, reinforce that pattern stronger and stronger in your brain. The very same principles that are making your brain an eating disordered brain are the same principles that can get you out of it when you know how to navigate that. So that is what we are doing here. And so fun to see you guys. I was talking to a woman the other day who has just been, struggling a lot with, this obsession with food and thinking about everything, that's happening in her life and just realizing how long it's been. She's in her 50s and this is something that she thought that she would be done with in her 20s. And it's just shocking for her to look back and just see how long it's been. And so I want to educate you guys today on exactly how that happens. And, the theme that I hear over and over is just, I don't need this anymore. And this is what she was saying, is that it's such a waste. Like it's such a waste, just the sheer waste of it. She just couldn't stand somebody who is, and she's somebody who recycles and somebody who, takes things and reuses them and somebody who, makes sure that she's efficient in her life and efficient in her time. And then there's this huge gaping problem that is taking so much. So we're going to talk about what an eating disorder does to your waste, like the way that it wastes multiple different areas of life. And it's really important to understand this because the clarity of what's happening, and we're going to talk a little bit about this later, but the clarity of what's happening right now is a really foundational step, because one part of why eating disorders last so long and continue to get worse is one part of the pattern is that we don't look at what's happening. We try to sort of put our blinders on, even in the very moment that we're eating, even in the very moment that we're binging. It's like we're hiding from ourselves. We're trying to ignore what's happening. We're thinking about how things are going to be better tomorrow and how, well, this is just another wasted, thrown away day, and we're going to start fresh tomorrow. And that very thing, that very ignoring of what's happening in this moment and what has happened is a part of what keeps us in the cycle. So I want to help you guys to get out of that mindset, to get out of that pattern so that you can have a hope to be done and free, like the hundreds and hundreds of women that we have worked with have become free because of being out of the cycle forever. So let's talk about what an eating disorder does with that waste and what happens in life. So to give you an idea, the way that we sort of blind ourselves to this, it's actually a fun surprise when people start getting better. So we've had, so many clients come through the program that are just like, whoa, like celebrating things that have nothing to do with their eating, but just how much of this other area and energy and financially and physically they get back in their life. It's like this big surprise of like, whoa, like I didn't know how much I was losing until I started getting it back. I mean, some just real examples for you guys is we had a woman come through the program that she's just like, I'm making $1,000 more a month than I used to, like just because of the sheer energy that I have back. We had somebody come through our program who doubled his business in 1 month because of using these same principles and just having the energy back from not struggling with food anymore. We've seen people start new relationships when dating was completely off the table for them because this eating disorder was simply taking up too much time for them. People celebrating like, I had no idea why I was always just living paycheck to paycheck and where I was always trying to make ends meet and they never were. And I was always struggling and I had all this stress around finances. They just didn't realize all of this money that was being sucked out of their life just because they were struggling with food. So we're going to go through a little bit about that today so you guys can be aware in your own world. So feel free to likes and hearts and comments and questions, whatever comes to your mind as we go through this, for what is your real story? Because we as a community here, when we share our stories, it really gives others permission to be able to share and to be open. And part of that, freedom and healing is just being able to first know that you're not alone and be able to share your experience. So feel free to comment here and share your experience, you guys. Hi, so fun to see you on. Hello, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and we are talking about the different areas that an eating disorder impacts in life and just the waste that comes from that, and the awareness of that, how that builds into the structure for being able to be free long term. Okay, so physically what happens is, we start the day really well, right? Like we're planning our meals. This is going to be a new, fresh day. We have a plan. We're going to, do everything perfectly, and we do it. Like we get to the end of the day, and maybe we're trying to be in a calorie deficit, right? Maybe we have this plan of like, you know what? Like I did it. Like I planned out my meals and I was able to be in a calorie deficit. And if I just do this, for the next month, wow, wonderful things are going to happen and I'm going to lose this weight. And we have all of our plans set out. And then, that 200, 500,000 calorie deficit at the end of the day, after a whole day put toward that, we end up binging and we end up overeating. We end up eating so much at night that now we're in this place where our calories are way more that day than we planned, right? We were in a calorie deficit and now we've shot way over what we need. And so we're worried about gaining weight and what the scale is going to say the next morning. And so we just say, screw it, I'm just going to eat whatever I want tonight because tomorrow I've got to be even better. I've got to work even harder. And so day after day, the entire day is just ruined, just wiped out, just wasted, because what we had worked toward all day from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. is wiped out from 10 p.m. to midnight. And we've lost sleep over that as well. The other thing that we hear so much is, people who work so hard on their health and their fitness, they're going to the gym and they're working out and, they have a plan and they have a trainer and they're really active. And if they weren't binging all the time, they would actually be able to see those gains. They would be able to have that energy. They would be able to, see how their body is transforming from all the work that they've put into their fitness. But because of the way that they're eating, nobody can see it, and neither can they. They might be strong, but it's something where they're not nearly as strong. They're not nearly as fit as they could be because they're putting all this work that's literally just canceling out all of the extra calories that they've been eating, as opposed to allowing them to move forward and actually get to a better place. The other thing is that, we'll eat in a way that we're taking stimulating things, like sugar and things that, help us or that keep us from being able to sleep well. So day after day, we're losing sleep. Sleep is an incredibly important thing for our immune system. It's incredibly important just for our overall health and our energy. But the time that we could have been sleeping, we're eating. And the time that we could have been, spending time with others and being able to be present or doing the things that recharge us, we're eating instead. And it's pushing up our set point all the time, right? So the 5 years that we've been trying to really get our health and our bodies into a better place are completely wasted because we're just trying to keep our head above water. In fact, we're bigger than we used to be. We've spent 10 years trying to lose 10 pounds, and now we're 20 pounds heavier than we ever thought we would be. The exact opposite is happening. It's literally wasting years that we could have had progress where we're going and we're sliding backwards. So those are just a couple of things that come up so often physically with the waste of an eating disorder. The other part of this is mentally, you guys. A lot of the people that we talk to, they say that 80% of their mental energy throughout the day is taken by worrying about their weight, worrying about their health, worrying about food, trying to prevent themselves from binging, thinking about the guilt and shame of binging the night before. And this could be like a large binge where it's like, 10,000 calories. This could be just those extra 400 or 500 calories that are keeping them from getting to where they want to be every single night. Either way, it's extremely frustrating to be thinking about this all the time. And so what happens is, we talk to people who have been in careers and in positions in life where they haven't been able to be creative. They haven't been challenged because they have so much mental bandwidth taken up by food. They have no extra energy, no extra mental energy to put toward anything else. And it's just kept them flatlined in their progress in life. They're not solving problems. They're not getting promotions because so much is taken up mentally by these food thoughts. Financially is a really big one. And this is something that goes ignored a lot. This is something that people are really surprised when they actually see what's going on in their lives financially. So I'll just give you guys like some real figures of what we see so often. So one, there's all of this healthy food that we buy because we're going to go on a perfect diet and we're going to eat greens and we're going to make salads and we're going to be so healthy and we're going to be plant-based or whatever it is. And it literally ends up rotting in our fridge because instead of eating that would improve our health, that is part of our goals, then we're eating the kids' snacks, and we're eating gummies, and we're eating crackers, and we're eating chocolate, and we're eating old Halloween candy at night by ourselves in secret. And so no, we don't feel like making a delicious thing with vegetables and protein, because this is something where we just feel sick and we're just so disgusted with ourselves. But then we have a new resolve the next day, so we go and buy more of this healthy food. And it's just continually the waste of rotted food that we're throwing away over and over. And then there's all of the extra food that we're eating because we're not eating that healthy food, and because we're binging. And even if that's just $15 a day, which is so simple to go through, one run through the fast food drive-through, some things that we're eating just out of our cupboards and groceries, $15 a day is a really conservative number. That's an extra $5,475 a year just on the food that's wasted, that we don't even want to eat, that is just getting us to a worse place. Now, if there's some sort of purging, right? So like, if we're throwing up our food, if we're using laxatives, if we're, doing all the different ways that people, purge, chewing and spitting, then what happens is those things are still damaging your body. You're still absorbing those calories, but this is food that's literally going down the toilet. It can easily be $50 a day. And that's a conservative number for those who are bulimic, right? So, they're eating, they're binging, they're purging multiple times a day. We've seen successful career women with, families and children that 20 times a day they're binging and purging, and nobody would know that. People who are really successful in their career, and they're, driving around, and they're talking with their clients, and they're stopping in the Starbucks bathroom to purge all of the stuff that they've been eating while they've been driving around. It's not a match to who they are at all, but that's literally money going down the toilet. So if it's $50 a day, that goes up to $18,250 a year. Think of all the things that could be done to better your own life, to better the lives of those around you, even if you just want to give that to charity instead of putting it down the toilet. But a lot of times people are just, have blinders to the sort of waste that happens here. Another thing that happens is we get in that low energy of, we're binging and we're sitting on the couch and we just feel awful. So we open up our phones and we get on Amazon and we start doing those low energy things to try to make us feel better. Like, maybe shopping and buying something and having it delivered, and maybe this will make me feel better. And so we have this constant stream of extra money of, things that we just don't need, that we're overbuying because it's in that same vein. So even if it's $100 a week on just a little, $20 thing here and there on some Facebook ad that comes by that we click on because we're in this place where we're just on the couch and we're feeling awful, that's an extra $5,200 a year. If you're spending an extra $100 a week on supplements to try to feel better from just feeling awful from all of the sugar that you binged on, that's another $5,200 a year. If you're on medications because of what's happening to you, right? It's like a lot of times we're having diabetes, we're, having inflammation, we develop, autoimmune disorders because of the way that we're eating. The medications and the doctor's visits for that get really expensive. And then there are the things that we're trying to do to fix this. So as this starts getting more extreme, inpatient, outpatient, treatment centers, when things really get awful, those are $30,000 a month on average. And the expectation is, you're broken. You're just going to be back here every year. 3 months of lost wages, 3 months of, not being able to be with your family, $90,000. That's on one end of the spectrum. On the other end, it's, meetings where you're going to, pay to go and keep yourself accountable. It's, special foods that you just know is going to be the answer to your problem. This is something where it is easily $1 million, literally $1 million that we can make over our lifetime that just goes toward the way that we're eating. It's an incredible amount of waste for something that's literally just hurting us, that we're paying $20,000, $30,000 a year for something that is just making our lives worse. We're investing in hurting ourselves. And so with new diets, that's easily, $200 a month on the conservative end. If you're buying special foods, doing, different programs, buying, books here and there, $20 here for a book, $10 there for a book, $2,400 a year. It's a really easy thing to happen. So it's tens of thousands of dollars a year that goes toward just making this problem worse. Let's talk about time. So time-wise, 4 hours a day is the average that we see that people are spending on trying to fix their eating disorder. It's listening to a podcast about ending eating disorders on your commute. It's a YouTube video like this because you still haven't fixed your problem and you're looking for those answers. It's reading a book at night because, of course, you're not going to do something to relax you. You've got to figure out how to not binge tonight. It's the extra time that we're just, wasting on not being productive because we've just got to lay on the couch and just digest the food that we just binged on. It's all of this time that's taken out of our present life. 4 hours a day, it adds up really easily. Planning meals, everything that takes longer, the procrastination of doing our work just because we're trying to feel better before we can move on to the next thing. That is 1,460 hours, if it's just 4 hours a day a year. If we're thinking about 12 hours a day, that's 121 hours in the year. That's 4 months. 4 months out of our life just trying to fix this problem and doing things that make it worse. And that's not even counting the time that we spend binging and the time that we spend up at night. It's a third of your life. If you live until you're 70 years old, that means that you're giving up 23 years of your life to just trying to fix this problem and seeing it get worse. Years of our life are also defined by an eating disorder. We've talked to so many of you who just say, you know what, I don't know what I would have done in college if I was just me, but because I struggled with my eating disorder so much, I went into fitness, I went into psychology. Literally our life decisions, like huge chapters of our life, are defined by this. In our young family years, we're not present with our kids because we're just with our eating disorders. We're thinking about food. We're trying to fix this. So the problem that happens here is that we ignore this and we justify what we're doing because we're putting so much work toward it. And even though it's actually making it worse, we're putting so much work toward it, and it literally tricks us into thinking that things are getting better. And it's the illusion of things getting better that actually makes it worse, because we don't do what we really need to fix this, because we're doing all the little things that occupy us in just keeping going and making ourselves feel better and, making a promise that tomorrow is going to be better. So what really has to happen is we have to focus on exactly what this is costing us. And that doesn't fix the problem, but that gets us out of the cycle of just that day to day. Because one of the biggest lies is, oh, I'm almost there. Oh, I think I can do this on my own. Oh, this will be the book that's going to fix everything. And we start nickel and diming ourselves into all of these cheap solutions that literally keep the cycle going and reinforce it, and lose years and years of our life that we could be spending on the wonderful things that life are about, being present with people, seeing ourselves grow and excel, knowing that we finally conquered this, living life without an eating disorder. We coach so many women in their 60s and 70s that thought they would have been done with this in their 20s. But they've literally spent 50 years in just, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I'm sure this is going to get better, instead of fixing it all the way. And, once you get to your 60s or 70s, what we hear from women all the time is like, I have to fix this all the way now. I have to stop lying to myself and telling myself that another book is going to fix this. I've really got to be done with this all the way. And we've seen people after 45 years of struggling with this in just a handful of weeks be able to be completely done. But they got the help that they needed to be done with this all the way. And if you're tired of the waste of this, if you're tired of giving your time and your money and your energy and your health to something that is just making this worse, then you're welcome to have a free session with us where we can really help you with a foundational step to be able to be done. Really the foundation of freedom, which is getting the clarity of exactly what's happening for you and exactly what you need to do to be done with this. And, we're the best in the world at what we do, and we give this as a free service for people so that they can be able to have that first step. And we'll either let you know exactly what you need to do to fix this, or we'll direct you in the direction that you need. If this is not something that we can help you with, we'll let you know what can help you with this. So either way, you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply, and that's lifewithlydia.com/apply. Wait for the calendar page to load. And so then just pick whatever spot works for you. And if you're tired of all of the waste in your life and what this is doing, we're happy to help you. So you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply, snag a spot, and we're going to give you a free session. And so glad that you guys were on today. Hello, so fun to see you. And it's that foundation of getting that clarity and then really fixing this all the way to get that back in your life for the rest of your life. So this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off. Bye, guys. Mwah.